Hello there, guitar players. My name's Michael, and I'm going to show you how you can play along to thousands of songs, not just using a 4-chord progression, but literally using just one finger. So if you're a total beginner and you're looking to play along to songs straight away, then this lesson is the only lesson that you'll need in order to start playing the songs you love and enjoy. And for those of you who are a little bit more experienced but are finding guitar is a bit of a struggle, that you can't change between chords in time, then this system, my 7-level level up system, has everything you need to stop being frustrated with your guitar playing and to actually get music coming out of this wonderful instrument here. So give me 5 minutes and I will go through all the different progressions and the different levels that you can use. And for those of you who love to know how things work, stay tuned. In the second half of the video, I'll do the explanation of how things work and why things work. But let's get into it. Now, one of the biggest hacks when it comes to learning guitar is not to learn individual songs, but instead to learn progressions. And one of the most common chord progressions is the 4-chord progression. It goes C major, G major, A minor, and F major. And as you can see, I'm using bar chords there. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because that progression is literally used in thousands and thousands of songs. But unfortunately, the C chord, if we play it as a bar chord, is very tricky. The G chord is tricky, the A minor chord, all these bar chords are tricky, and I normally wouldn't give anyone who's been learning less than 6 months bar chords. But if you're going to play the F, you don't really have much of an option. And if we use our traditional chord shapes, the C major, the G major, the A minor, and the F major, that's still going to be tricky. 1, because the F is still almost impossible, and 2, because we're always using 3 fingers at least. Firstly, memorizing the shape is difficult, but being able to develop the ability to change between those chords smoothly and without breaking our strumming pattern is going to take a couple of months. Most of you watching this won't last a couple of months. A sad reality is that 90% of people who start learning guitar quit within the first year. I strongly believe that if more people used my level up system and started with something simple and effective and could play along straight away, then they would last long enough to actually get good at these other changes. But let's learn the level up system. So here we go. I'm going to play through the progression 7 times using the level up system. Level number 1 is the root note. I'm going to play the C note, the G note, the A note, and the F note on string number 6 to outline the C major, G major, A minor, and F major chord progression. Level number 2 is I'm going to use power chords. Level number 3 is the movable 1-finger triads. Level number 4 is simplified 3-string open chords. Level number 5 are some additional simplified chord shapes that use 2 or 3 fingers and 4 or 5 strings. Level number 6 are our standard open chords. The final level, level number 7, are our bar chords. So there you go. I just played through the C, G, A minor, F chord progression in all 7 levels, going from 1 finger on 1 string at a time right up to bar chords. Now you can play thousands of songs using this progression, but you don't want to have to wait 6 months to get really good at bar chords before you do so. That's the whole point of this level up system. Now, there are going to be a couple of levels in between. For example, you can definitely play the root notes on string number 5, and you can do zigzag patterns where you maybe play this bar chord, going to this bar chord, going to this bar chord, going to this bar chord. So this video has just been a really brief overview of that system. I will definitely post a video later, popping up around here somewhere now, on how to actually go way deeper into this system. And of course, you can download my ebook and course for free, which explains all this in greater detail. Anyway, let's dive deeper into the explanation. So rather than play the C major chord, the G major chord, the A minor chord, and the F major chord using bar chords or traditional open chord shapes, we are going to start with the most basic level. 1 finger, 1 note, 1 string. So all I need to do to play along to any song is to play the root notes, the note matching the name of the chord, on string 6. The C note is string number 6, fret number 8. The G note is string number 6, fret number 3. The A note is string number 6, fret number 5. And the F note is string number 6, fret number 1. You can play along to this progression and any song that uses this progression just by going fret 8, fret 3, fret 5, and fret 1. To make it more interesting, you can pick 4 times. Or you can add in any rhythm pattern, picking pattern that you like. Now, is that exactly what you're hearing on the recording when you're listening to a song? Probably not, but there's a good chance the bass player is doing something like that on the bass guitar. So it's still a musically valid idea. But the main point is you can play along to this progression and any song using one finger on one string, and you'll be able to do that straight away. If it's your first day playing guitar, you'll be able to do that with almost any chord-based song just by playing one finger, one fret, one string. Now, level 2 in the level up system is to play power chords. What's tricky about the C chord and the G chord and the A minor chord and the F chord is that they are 4 very different shapes, and the ability to move between those shapes smoothly after having memorized them is probably going to take a couple of weeks at least. I've taught thousands of people how to play guitar. Very rarely do people get it in less than 3 or 4 months. It's perfectly normal to get frustrated with it. But we don't want to quit because it's too hard and we think, well, guitar's too difficult for me, I'm just going to quit. What we should do once we get the bass line down, fret 8, fret 3, fret 5, and fret 1, is we upgrade to power chords. So a power chord, all we do is take our first finger and we put our third finger down a string plus 2 frets. So a C power chord would be string 6, fret 8, string 5, fret number 10, and I strum both of those at the same time. So it's 8 and 10. That's a C power chord. The power chord takes on the name of the root note of which it's built on top of. Then I go down to the G note and I build the G power chord, fret 3 and fret 5. Then to get the A power chord, I'm going to go fret 5 and 7 on string 5. And it doesn't matter whether it's an A major or A minor, they're both built off of the A note. And then the F power chord is fret 1 on string 6 and 3 on string 5 there. So that sounds like this. Now that automatically sounds a lot more interesting and a lot fuller. And if you like bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Green Day and a lot of those late 80s, early 90s, 2000 bands, most of them are just using power chords. So again, we are substituting a power chord for our regular open chords or our bar chords. It's not an invalid musical idea. Most of your favorite rock bands and pop bands are using power chords in the majority of their songs. And it is much easier to memorize one power chord shape and move it around than it is to try and memorize dozens of chord shapes and get good at the individual changes there. One thing on the power chords is that if you know where the notes are on string number 6, it makes it so much easier. So if you haven't memorized the fretboard, check out the video. It's going to pop up here somewhere about how to easily memorize the fretboard. Level number 3 is movable magical one-finger triads. These are a special kind of movable chord that I have discovered and I use as level 3 in my level up system. So once again, instead of memorizing 4 different shapes for C, G, A minor, and F, we are going to use one shape to play all 4 of those chords. So what we're going to be doing is taking our first finger and we're going to be barring it across either strings 1, 2, and 3 for minor chords or strings 2, 3, and 4 for major chords. So this comes from the A major shape. If you actually know the A major chord, we can see that we're playing the 2nd fret on strings 2, 3, and 4, and we're referencing string number 3. So we need to play a C major chord, a G major chord, and an F major chord. The C note is on string number 3, fret number 5. So by putting my first finger flat and I'll go across string 1, 2, 3, and 4 at fret number 5, I'm just not going to strum string number 1. If I play strings 2, 3, and 4 at fret number 5, that's the C major chord. And that kind of comes from this C bar chord shape here. So that is a C chord there, and I'm just not strumming string number 1. If I am having trouble, I'm getting this buzzy sound, just put your 2nd finger on top like that, or you can, if you can squish them in, use 3 different fingers. Go with whatever is easier for you. But you're essentially using one finger to play all 3 of those strings there. I just don't hit string number 1 because then I get a C6 or an A minor 7 chord there. We don't want that, just 3 strings. So if that's C, the F chord is going to be up at fret number 10, and the G chord is going to be fret number 12, or the open strings, as long as I'm doing only 3 strings. Once again, that's C major at fret 5, F major at fret 10, and G major at fret 12, or I can do G major on the open strings. Now the A minor triad is going to be the same shape, but on strings 1, 2, and 3 at fret number 5. That is the minor triad. And I do have a video on these movable shapes. Click that card that pops up there and that'll take you to that one if you want an in-depth dive into these shapes and how they work. But I can play that progression by going C major, G major, A minor, F major, C major, G major open, A minor. And one more time without me talking. So there you go, I'm playing along to C, G, A minor, F using 1 finger and these movable shapes. Once again, that is so much easier than trying to memorize 4 different shapes which have 3 fingers each and change between them. Most of you will be able to play along with any song at level 1, 2, and maybe even 3 within a couple of days, maybe even the very first day if you practice pretty hard. Not that we're racing you towards level number 7, it's going to take a couple of months, but these shapes will allow you to play along to your favorite songs relatively quickly. And as long as you've memorized the fretboard and you know how the guitar is laid out, it is so much better and more efficient than your traditional chord shapes. Now, speaking of traditional chord shapes, level number 4 is going to introduce some simplified open string chords. Now, the reason why open chords don't work is, imagine I take you to the gym and I'm your personal trainer. If I explain to you that, hey, we're going to do a bench press and I'm good at lifting 100 kilos, so we're going to start with 100 kilos, how is that going to go for you? Probably not really well. Within my level up system, I would say bar chords are about the equivalent of trying to lift 100 kilos, that's about 220 pounds for all my American viewers at home, in your first ever session. For 99.9% of people, that is going to end very, very badly. You're going to drop the weight on yourself. If you don't end up having a near-death experience, then you're probably going to be put off coming back to a gym and trying to lift weights for a lot of the near future. This is what happens to guitar players when we try and do bar chords. Now, some better teachers will go, you know what, bar chords are quite tricky. We're not going to start with bar chords. What we're going to do is we're going to use a capo and some simplified or some open chords, essentially. But that's like going from 100 kilos to 80 kilos or 220 pounds to about 185 pounds. It's still way too much for most people. So these standard open chord shapes are going to be very frustrating and very difficult. So what's the remedy here? Well, the level up system. As we said, starting with a broomstick is probably the best way to introduce someone to an exercise in the gym. Almost everyone can bench press a broomstick or a broom handle. That's our baseline, 1 finger, 1 string. Now, the small metal bar, that's going to be the power chords. That's going to be 10 to 20 kilos. Most people are going to be able to do that relatively easily. Then the movable 1 finger triads, that's our next level where we start putting a little bit of weight on and we work our way up to heavier and heavier weights until we are bench pressing 100 kilos. This is how we've got to think of guitar. We're going to use the easier levels in the beginning to start playing along and jamming and having fun with the songs that we love. And then as we unlock these new chords, as our fingers develop the ability to transfer between them smoothly, then we will come back to these songs and progressions and play them again using the new chords we've unlocked. So we're going to do simplified open chords. So instead of playing a C like this, I can play a C chord that uses 3 strings, just 1 finger. So this is my simplified C major chord shape. Here's my simplified G major chord shape. Here's my simplified A minor chord shape, which is still a little bit tricky because it uses 2 strings, 2 fingers. And the F chord shape, it's a little bit simpler. We're still using 3 fingers, but we're not using any sort of bar shape. So this one becomes a lot easier. And of course, you can always use the 1 finger F up here or a different D inversion here. Not that we're going to go too deep into those chord shapes, but I can play along with the C major, the C, G, A minor, F progression using these simplified shapes. So I've got C major, G major, A minor, and F major. So that's level number 4. Level number 5 is the simplified level where we use 4-string open chords. I'll do this C, I'll do a 2-finger G, I'll do pretty much a standard A minor, and I'll do an F, which includes the open string there, being an F major 7. But that's kind of like a level 5 where we're not quite using the full open chords, we're using a simplified approach. Level number 6 is using the standard open chords. And level number 7 is the full 100 kilo bench press using our bar chords. So they are the 7 levels in the level up system. You can use level 1 to start playing along with any progression, any chord-based song pretty much straight away. And once you get the hang of that, go to level 2. Once you get the hang of that, go to level 3. And over the next couple of months, keep on practicing your open chords, keep on practicing your bar chords. But if you need to play along with a song straight away, or you're under pressure, you're having a jam with someone and you can't quite master these changes, just drop down to a root note, just drop back to a power chord, and you can experience having fun whilst playing your songs straight away. And as your skills develop, as you can go from a C chord to a G chord smoothly, as you can finally play that F chord and all these bar chords which make your hand feel like it wants to drop off, then you work towards those. But these lower levels, it's not cheating, it's not like a simplified approach, which is the guitar police are going to come and throw you in jail. It's a simplified approach that you can use to enjoy guitar straight away. And just like weightlifting, you work your way up to the higher levels, you work your way up to the more challenging things. Anyway, guys, that's about it for this video. If you'd like more information about my level up system, or you'd like the tabs or the chord charts, this is all included in my brand new adult beginner guitar book and course, which is absolutely free from my website, which I will link to you below. You can just download the book and go through it. You can work on a 12-week course, which you get free access to. As I said, I want to help you guys get through the beginner phases for free so that when you're at the intermediate and advanced level, then you can come to me for lessons with all the really, really fun stuff that I love teaching. But in the beginning, you can check that stuff out for free. And of course, if you like this video, please let me know by commenting below. And I'm going to come up with a bunch of other progressions and provide you with the tabs and these little video lessons as well. So if you found this one helpful and you want to have a few more lessons that are similar, maybe not as long and with less talking, where I go through each of these popular chord progressions with the level up system, then please subscribe, and that way you'll be kept up to date with those. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.